Chris Greer didn't drop a hint. He dropped a storm. When he mentioned the NFL draft in the context of finding a backup quarterback, it wasn't speculation, it was declaration. A shift. A subtle but deafening admission that things need to change. That this team, as it stands, can't afford to roll the dice on the same formula. Not again. Because we all saw it. Tua missing 6 games last season. 5 the year before, including a playoff game that still tastes bitter. That's not a footnote. That's a headline. That's the kind of thing that lingers in the walls of a locker room. And now, it's forcing a reckoning. Greer's words weren't calculated PR lines. They sounded like a man who's been sitting with the weight of near misses. Every stone will be unturned, he said. That's not just talk. That's urgency bleeding through a carefully controlled voice. You don't say that unless you're tired of watching the same movie with the same ending. And let's not pretend this came out of nowhere. Miami wanted a top backup last offseason. Greer admits they were this close to landing some of the league's better number 2 options. But money talked. Compensatory pick rules whispered. And the Dolphins ended up with empty hands and too many ifs. You don't forget those kinds of misses. Not when they cost you momentum. Not when you watch your franchise QB standing on the sideline while your season burns. So now, it's war on complacency. And the arsenal? Maybe a veteran. Definitely a rookie. Probably both. Not because it's a luxury, but because it's survival. Tua's still QB1. That much hasn't changed. But the glow around him has dimmed, hasn't it? Not because of skill. His numbers, when healthy, prove he can spin it with the best of them. But we're not talking about efficiency anymore. We're talking about durability, about reliability, about the feeling in the pit of your stomach when he takes a hit and doesn't get up right away. And that's where this gets complicated. Because once that feeling shows up, it doesn't go away. You don't unfeel that fear. The Dolphins have drafted just 3 quarterbacks in the last 12 years. Tua, of course. Skylar Thompson in 2022, 7th round. Brandon Doughty in 2016, also a 7th. You can spin that however you want, but the truth's pretty loud. It's been a long time since Miami threw darts with real intent at this position. That has to change. Not just one dart. Not just one hopeful swing. It's time to start taking real shots, in rounds that matter. 2nd, 3rd, 4th. Maybe 5th. But stop waiting for the perfect storm. Stop waiting for a golden ticket. That's not how this works. And yeah, we know most of those guys flame out. But some don't. Some become pillars. And the only way you find them is by trying. Let's talk about names. Quinn Ewers from Texas. The arm? It's there. The instincts? You see them in flashes. There's something electric under the surface. But is it polished enough? Can he command an NFL offense? Or does he just dance in the chaos? Jalen Milroe from Alabama. A cannon for an arm. Legs that threaten every blade of grass. But it's raw. Messy. Incomplete. Is he a project or a plan? Does Miami have the structure to mold him? Or will he get lost in the shuffle? Dylan Gabriel out of Oregon. Undersized, sure. But sharp. Precise. Fast. Lefty. Feels like a mirror of Tua in some ways. But smaller. Maybe a little more jittery in the pocket. Would the offense miss a beat if he had to step in? Or is that familiarity a false sense of security? Jackson Dart, Ole Mississippi. This guy. He's grit. He doesn't shy away from hits. He doesn't panic when things fall apart. He's got just enough mobility to escape. Just enough toughness to hang in there. But is that enough to lead? Or is he just another fighter, swinging at ghosts? Kyle McCord from Syracuse. Middle of the pack everything. Arm strength? Meh. Athleticism? Fine. But there's something about his presence. Something steady. Reliable. He won't wow you, but he won't freeze either. Could that be the glue in a high-stakes offense? None of them are sure things. That's the point. There's no sure thing in this game. But at least they bring something to the table. At least they give you a different look. A reason to believe that if chaos hits, someone's ready to clean it up. The problem isn't just who's behind center. It's what's in front of him. Miami's O-line, especially the interior, got worked. Aaron Brewer, Robert Jones, Liam Eichenberg, tough guys, sure. But 9 sacks given up, plus a pile of pressure. That's not sustainable. Doesn't matter if it's Tua, or a rookie, or a vet. They won't last without a wall. So here's the crossroads. You've got a quarterback who can win games when healthy. You've got a roster stacked with speed and talent. But the spine of the team, the QB depth and the line, need surgery. This isn't about hope anymore. It's about control, about taking the reins back and refusing to let the season spiral because of one unlucky hit. You don't get to be passive in today's league. Not when the window's cracked open.